What if the home you buy came with a built-in income stream? Not a side hustle, not a second job, a separate living space on the same property that generates rent every single month, and in many cases covers a significant portion or all of your mortgage payment. This is what an accessory dwelling unit makes possible. And in most states, the regulations around building and renting them have loosened dramatically in the last 3 years. Most first-time buyers have never seriously considered this as part of their home purchase strategy. That's about to change. An accessory dwelling unit is a secondary residential unit on the same lot as a primary home. And it has its own entrance, its own living space, its own kitchen and bathroom. It's a complete, self-contained residence, just smaller and on the same property as the main house. A detached ADU is a completely separate structure in the backyard. A cottage, a guest house, a converted garage. An attached ADU shares a wall with the main house, a basement apartment, a converted garage attached to the house, an addition built onto the side. A junior ADU, or JADU, is a conversion of existing interior space, a bedroom suite with a separate entrance and kitchenette, typically under 500 square feet. The reason ADUs have become a major story for first-time buyers specifically is twofold. First, state and local governments have been aggressively loosening ADU regulations since 2020. Restrictions from HOA. Homeowners associations can and do prohibit ADU construction and rental even where local zoning allows it. If the property has an HOA, review the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, specifically for language about accessory structures. What was bureaucratically difficult 5 years ago is administratively straightforward in many jurisdictions today. Second, lenders have updated their guidelines to allow rental income from ADUs to count toward mortgage qualification. This is a significant change. It means the expected rent from an ADU can be factored into your qualifying income, allowing you to qualify for a larger loan or qualify for a loan you might not have otherwise. Let me show you what the numbers look like in practice. Scenario 1. You purchase a home with an existing detached ADU, a finished backyard cottage for $350,000. Your mortgage at 6.8% on a 20% down payment is approximately $1,830 a month, including taxes and insurance. The ADU rents for $1,100 a month, a conservative estimate for a self-contained one-bedroom unit in most markets. Your effective monthly housing cost is $730. You are essentially renting a share of a property you own for less than most studio apartments in any mid-sized city. Over 10 years, your tenant will have paid $132,000 toward your mortgage. You will have built equity in the property during that entire period. Your housing cost will have been dramatically below market rate. And you will own an asset that has appreciated. Scenario 2. You purchase a home with an unfinished basement that has a separate entrance and is permitted for conversion. The home costs $320,000. You spend $40,000 converting the basement into a one-bedroom ADU, securing permits, construction, and kitchen installation. Total investment $360,000. The ADU rents for $900 a month. Your mortgage, including the construction costs, is approximately $2,060 a month. Effective monthly housing cost after rent, $1,160. Your ADU cost $40,000 to build. It generates $900 a month in rent. That's a $10,800 annual return on a $40,000 investment. A 27% annual return before appreciation on the primary property. Scenario 3 is the most powerful for first-time buyers in high-cost markets. You purchase a duplex, 2 separate units on one property. You live in one, you rent the other. We covered the mechanics of this in a previous video. The ADU scenario differs in that you're adding a unit to a single-family property rather than purchasing a multi-family property from the start. The financing is simpler. You use a standard residential mortgage rather than a commercial or multi-family loan. This is where the strategy gets genuinely powerful for qualifying buyers. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the government-backed entities that set guidelines for most conventional mortgages, both updated their ADU policies in recent years to allow rental income from ADUs to be counted toward qualifying income under specific conditions. For existing ADUs, units that are already built, permitted, and have a rental history, lenders can typically count 75% of the market rent as qualifying income. The 25% haircut accounts for vacancy and maintenance. For proposed ADUs units you plan to build after purchase, some loan products allow projected rental income to be counted if you can document the ADU plans, the permits, and comparable rents in the area. This varies by lender and loan product. What this means practically: if you're buying a home with an existing ADU generating $1,200 a month in rent, $900 of that can be added to your qualifying income. On a standard mortgage application, that $900 a month translates to significantly higher purchasing power, potentially $40,000 to $60,000 more in loan amount, depending on your debt-to-income ratio. Talk to your lender specifically about ADU income treatment before you assume it does or doesn't apply to your situation. Not all lenders handle this the same way, and the guidelines have evolved quickly enough that some loan officers aren't current on their own product guidelines. The ADU strategy has real constraints that need to be verified before you commit to a property. Local zoning and permits. Not every jurisdiction allows ADUs on every property type. Some areas restrict them to certain zoning districts. Some require minimum lot sizes. Some limit the number of ADUs on a single parcel. Before you buy a property specifically for its ADU potential or plan to build one, verify with the local planning department that the specific property in question is eligible. Permit status of existing structures. A converted garage or basement that is being used as an ADU but has never been permitted is an unpermitted unit. Unpermitted ADUs create two problems. The lender will typically not count the rental income in qualifying, and as the new owner you inherit the liability for bringing it into compliance or removing it. Always ask specifically whether any existing ADU is fully permitted before you purchase. Restrictions from HOA. Homeowners associations can and do prohibit ADU construction and rental even where local zoning allows it. If the property has an HOA, review the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, specifically for language about accessory structures, separate rentals, and owner occupancy requirements. Owner occupancy requirements. Some ADU loan products and some state assistance programs require you to live in the primary unit as your primary residence. This is typically not a problem for a first-time buyer using the strategy as intended. You live in the main house, you rent the ADU, but verify the specific requirement for your loan product. Construction costs and timeline. If you're planning to build an ADU rather than purchase one that exists, get real contractor quotes before you finalize your budget. ADU construction costs vary dramatically by region, complexity, and material costs. A realistic range for a detached ADU is $100,000 to $250,000 in most markets. Prefab and modular ADU options exist at the lower end of that range and have shorter construction timelines. The ADU strategy is not complicated. It's just underused. You buy a home. That home generates rental income. That income offsets your mortgage. Over time, you build equity in an asset that has been partially funded by someone else. For a first-time buyer navigating a market where monthly payments feel impossibly high, the ADU is one of the most practical tools available, not as a get-rich-quick mechanism, but as a way to make the math of home ownership work in a market that has made it harder than it should be. The steps from here are straightforward. Check what your target area allows for ADUs at the local planning department website. Search specifically for properties with existing permitted ADUs or the footprint to add one. Talk to a lender who has experience with ADU income documentation and run your own version of the numbers we walk through today. The house that pays for itself is not a fantasy. It's a zoning question and a spreadsheet.